Currently, I have over 400 items and 40% of my portfolio in the Armory. This is everything I've bought, how much I bought of it, what I paid, and what I'm selling at. For every collection, with every explanation you need. Now, before I walk you through the positions, allow me to show you the infrastructure. Because buying is not the hard part. It's tracking when you have so many. One app that's been around for a while that I find very particularly useful is Skinledger. It's around a $10 a month membership, I believe. And it's akin to like a Bloomberg terminal for skins. You can open the Armory from there. You can track your portfolio with a real-time graph, including your storage units. You can check out your storage units, transfer in and out from them. You can do trade-ups, and you can redeem from the Armory, all from this app. If you have a sizable position, and I mean over $500, the $10 you pay for it monthly is going to be saved in time alone. Some also other good resources are like Steam Inventory Helper and Google Chrome extensions. They're just going to help you see floats in your inventory. They can help you track quantity if you don't want to download an app that's invasive like Skinledger is. And of course, CS2liquid.com for all your float value needs. Alrighty, so let me start with my biggest position. It's my highest conviction play, and that's going to be Train 2025. It's the most important collection in the Armory, in my opinion, because even if it doesn't get discontinued and it stays around for another 6 months, you're still probably going to be fine with your positions. The only thing that changes is your timeline. There's too many bottlenecks. There's too many good fundamentals underlying this collection that will make it profitable no matter what. Weird guns, all super rare float ranges, trade up routes that are difficult and expensive. The list goes on and on and on, and that combination just creates value. I have one up long dog. It's battle scarred 0.98, I believe. It's a black scope long dog. I think it looks pretty sick. It'll probably command some decent amount of overpay. I got it for market price around $90. I did want to be exposed to the covert, but I didn't have any liquid cash to put into one. However, once the Armory rotation does occur, I will try to rotate into a factory new long dog, which as we know is very rare because it has a 3% chance of getting unboxed once you get it from the Armory in factory new condition. And because the long dog is 0 to 1 and requires immense luck to get from an unboxing, it also requires a very expensive trade up via the Hellish and Latte Rush, which are both also 0 to 1. Factory new is going to be exceptionally rare over time. Regardless of its demand, the supply will be low enough such that even its niche demand will need to be met. And like I said, those pinks are also 0 to 1, which makes them extremely rare, and you're going to need those to trade up to the long dog in the first place. I have one M4 Hellish, I have one MP9 Latte Rush, both in factory new, both under 0.02 float. I got the M4 Hellish for around $300 and the Latte Rush for around $170, I believe. They both look fucking sick, that's A. And B, just having these, people are going to need them for trade ups, and you can be a price maker instead of a price taker if you're holding them right now. And now we get into the purples. I didn't want to overexpose myself to the purples because there is going to be a higher amount of train purples, and that's because the Tech 9 Whiteout is a purple and people are going to try and trade up to it, and only 1 out of 3 of those trade ups are going to result in a Tech 9 Whiteout, which means that there's going to be a relative higher amount of factory new Zeus's and Mac 10s because you need to lower that float so much in your trade up. That's why for the price, the Zeus was unattractive and I hold none of them. I do hold some of the Mac 10s because it does require a threshold to get under in order to use it in a trade up, 0.049. The cost basis was lower for the same value the Zeus provides. I got them for around $28 to $30. Right now, they currently sit at around $36 on UUSkins, today's sponsor. And if you purchase from them right now, you could sell them on float for around $52 to $53, which is the price they've been going for over the last few days. That's because UUSkins offers direct marketplace access to China. Delivery time is fast, under 10 hours guaranteed, or else your money back. And if you have any problems, be sure to hit up their support line where they are fast, friendly, and extremely helpful. Without UUSkins, I would be making no money in this market. It's simply way too powerful of a tool to not be using at this point. If you don't believe me, take a look for yourself. QR code on the screen, scan it, check it out, and just look at those prices. They will be shocking. So I have around 10 Mac 10 whiteouts. I sold a few of them on CSFloat because there was a $20 flip. Very easy, guaranteed profit. Can never be mad at that. As far as the Tech 9 whiteout, I have one factory new Tech 9 whiteout, which I purchased at $275. I do also have a few field tested Tech 9 whiteouts. No real reason behind it. I just think it's going to be a popular skin in the future and will probably go past the $7, $8 price point in which I purchased it at. And since there's going to be a relative oversupply of purples, that's why I bought a lot of blues, because there's going to be trade ups happening from blues to purples at a higher rate in this collection when compared to others. I have around 35 Glock 18 green lines and 35 UMP 45 late night transits. Now these two skins are both 0 to 1 as we know, and you need under 0.01 in order to get a factory new Tech 9 whiteout. I have some of these Glocks and some of these UMPs underneath that float threshold, and I also just have some of them in the 0.05, 0.06 range because the skins themselves look pretty decent and will spike upon discontinuation. Those ones I'll be moving on discontinuation day. The ones under 0.01 may list a few of them at a higher increased rate on those days of hype, but I probably will keep most of them in my inventory for the long term. Those are going to be very, very valuable once the outlet in which you can get them ceases to exist. The other two blues also can be used, the FAMAS under 0.008 and the XM under 0.0075, roughly. I had the number 200 lowest float XM 1014, and I sold it a couple days ago for around $55. That's a very good return considering where the Tech 9 is right now currently, so very happy with that sale. But I do have a few others that I'm just holding into the sunset. And because there'll be a subsequent less supply of blues because they're being moved into purples at a higher rate, I do have some light blues in the form of the Galil Green Apple. But because of that, there was less demand and less eyes on the skin as a whole, which allowed me to get some super low float ones that do the same thing as all of the other light blues, even from 0 to 1. I even found a few at like 0.000 float ones that are like top 300, top 200, and I got them for like $1.50. Very easy flip, $5, $6 a couple months from now. From there, we move into the Sport and Field collection, and this is where it gets interesting because my confidence in this collection specifically is trending downwards. And I do think that showing you how I make my plays in collections I'm losing conviction on is just as valuable as the ones I'm bullish in. I've been purchasing a lot of this stuff for a while and for a few months, so I'm up. So this is how I'm sort of changing my position. I have one M4A1S Fade. I purchased this last month during the dip for probably around $420. A very good deal considering it has a 0.008 float and a 97% fade. But also, because of this, I'm not going to be able to sell it on discontinuation because of those stats. I'm going to have to hold it, and that's completely fine. Those high fades, low floats, those ones command overpay in their own right, so I'm probably already up there. But if we just wait a little bit of time, that supply will decrease and I'll have more demand for my skin, allowing me to sell it at a higher price. It looks great, so I'm not complaining about using it over the next year or so. As far as pinks, I have the Galil Rainbow Spoon in factory new and the Glock Axia in minimal wear. I bought the Glock Axia in minimal wear because it was relatively underpriced compared to the factory new one, not because I have any specific conviction in minimal wear. In fact, the field tested ones were also pretty good at the time because they were roughly 1/10 of the price of the M4 Fade, which is a pretty even trade up. And if the M4 Fade goes up, you profit. If the Glock Axia goes up, you sell the Glock Axias. It's kind of a win-win situation there. I've just been holding them for a very long time. The Galil Rainbow Spoon I've had since November of last year when it was around $80 to $90, $100 maybe. And it's 0.01 float, which will only command more overpay as time goes on. Again, probably won't sell that on discontinuation day, but probably will the Axia. The majority of my plays are in the purples and blues within this collection, mainly the 5.7 heat treated, which I have around 15 to 16 of, which I purchased at around $20 to $24 a piece. I got in very early and there seems to have been an uptick in demand in the past few months, regardless of it being discontinued or not. 0 to 1, so it's very rare in factory new, has a lot of nice patterns. So a lot of different variables that go into making it more valuable than it is. And if the Glock Axia in factory new keeps trending up, which it seems to be and has been purported to be a target of Chinese manipulation if it gets discontinued, that 5.7 heat treated is going to benefit disproportionately compared to the other purples within the collection. I also have a few of the MP9s and UMPs. They don't have as good of a float cap, but I do have them very low float, which will command overpay in due time. I don't have a lot of these though, maybe 2, 3 of each. And the blues, the Nova Yorkshire, which is a 0 to 1 float cap Nova. This is where I'm taking most of my profits. I had a ton of these at one point, probably 70 to 80 of them, all at around $2.50 purchased. Now they've hit $5.50 on most marketplaces. That's a 2x. I'm out. I'm taking half of them out, taking my profits there, rotating into a different play that I have more conviction in, and holding some of them with some house money. So regardless of if Sport and Field does well or does bad in the future, I've done my due diligence in selling some of them such that my basis is break even, and if anything goes up, that's pure bonus to me. Now I have the least of my holdings in Overpass 2024 because I think that if one doesn't get discontinued, it'll probably be Overpass. So the position is intentionally more tight than the other ones. I don't have any of the Be the Monster, but I do have 2 AUP crack cows, one in factory new and one in minimal wear. The minimal wear one, under 0.0875 trades up to a factory new Be the Monster, which gives it the same value in theory. However, the Op Crack Cow in minimal wear was around $105. The Op Crack Cow in factory new, even when I bought it around 2 months ago, was $250. And that's because the Op Crack Cow in factory new itself is also very rare, as it is 0 to 1, making it a 3% drop rate. The best purple is the AUG Eye of Zapums, as it has the highest float range amongst all three. However, all of them are very close together, so buying the cheapest one right now is probably going to be your best option if you are still looking into purchasing some. I purchased them at around $25 each, and I have around 10 to 12 of them, I believe. They've already grown pretty nicely in the last few months, allowing me to take some profits and still have a sizable position. As for the blues, I have 10 of the Novas, which are also 0 to 1, much like the Sport and Field collection. However, this one has seen larger growth proportionally to the Nova Yorkshire, because 0 to 1s are more valuable in this collection than they are in Sport and Field because of the float ranges of all of these skins in general. I purchased around 10 of those at around $330 to $350 a piece. And then for just play skin demand, I purchased a few of the M4 Wash Me Please and the Desert Eagle Tilted. Both in factory new, the Desert Eagles were around $270, the M4s were around $150. Might be down on that position though. They'll do just fine over time, not necessarily as a trade-up filler, but because they are just play skins and people will purchase them. Next order of business, I know it's not going anywhere, but the AK Aphrodite, thought I'd speak about it because I'm speaking about everything in general right now. Right, we have that timeline explicitly stated on the top of the screen, but they've recently seen some manipulation attention by the hands of China, and that's because they were underpriced. I was ripping hella Aphrodites well worn for around $14, $15. Of course it's gone up. When your return is so low, no one's going to redeem them, and thus supply going around goes down. I also purchased one in minimal rare at around $55. Didn't have the capital to buy a factory new one, but it has gone up pretty decently, around like $300 to $550 in the last few days. And that's because 0 to 1, extremely rare. On top of that, it's pattern based. So there's probably going to be one of a good pattern in factory new per pattern. Then we move into the elemental stickers, which, as I've said before, is a pure momentum play on my end. We don't know how many stickers have been redeemed. The only thing we know is the application numbers, and that is not indicative of how many are in people's inventories right now. I do have a few of the more popular ones. The High Heat, which is the flame one, I have at around 90 cents each, and I have 30 of them. The Rainbow Route, which is the rainbow, I have probably the same amount. I have around 30 of them as well at around $1.75 a piece, I'd say. Then the various elemental ones like the flame, the water, the other shit. Negligible quantity, but you know, a few of them just from redeeming here and there. I just never got rid of them. There's no point in getting rid of them and selling them if, you know, you redeem the star and it's 20 cents. Just keep it, hold on to it, wait for that Armory rotation, then sell it for 40 cents, at least make yourself break even in the future. So, momentum play, not long-term holding this shit, getting rid of it as soon as they announce it's getting removed. Which is why I don't have too many, right? I just want to get them the fuck out of my inventory, to be honest with you. Charms is where I have a more long-term play because this is the first generation of charms that we're speculating to be removed. So I think these will do proportionally better to the ones in the future will do. Specifically the diecast AK, I have around 60 of them, around $5 a piece. I've gotten some really nice patterns just from setting buy orders and getting lucky here and there. I've gotten a gold AK charm from a M4 I bought on UUSkins. I unboxed a pure fucking red ruby one, sold that for like $100. And I just have some basic ones that I bought at $5. They're already $8, and I expect them to be $14, $15 if they get discontinued. The Hot Howl and the Diamond Dog, I've just unboxed these over time, and I've just held on to them. Because like I said, this is the first generation of charms. If these get discontinued, right, no other collection is going to do as well as these ones do, right? As time goes on, the oldest charms will always be the first generation, right? You can't get any older than that. Okay, so that is the portfolio. But owning this shit doesn't mean anything if you can't get out efficiently and effectively. So let me walk you through how I'm exiting. Immediate flips, anything with a shit float, 0.069, 0.14999, etc. Those are the ones going out of my inventory first and foremost, going right into buy orders. They don't need overpay. Hype is up. Prices should be up around 40 to 50% on a spike. Sell right into that immediately. Get your money. Wait for the pullback in a day or so. Buy back in. Ride that money all the way back up until March 31st. And then you reassess from there. Again, blues, purples, and lesser so pinks tend to be the top performers when this discontinuation news hits. because they're cheaper. You know, more people have liquid cash in order to buy those immediately as opposed to a $2,000 red. So that's why typically those skins do better, which is why I hold majority there, sell into that, take my money, and then rotate into the higher tier coverts, which tend to do better in the long term. Also, if that pullback never happens, don't feel inclined to buy back in at a loss. There's no point. You know what happens when a lot of people buy into this hyped up shit? They tend to sell their other items very quickly right into buy orders, which tends to dip the price of adjacent stuff outside, right? Armory collections that didn't get discontinued, those will dip immediately. Cases will probably dip a decent amount. Cases usually dip a pretty decent amount because you could sell into them and really don't have to worry about that pending balance either. That is also a great play because they don't really go down due to any reason other than people just flooding the market with supply, and I'll eat that up any fucking day, make my money back immediately, right? And because of the Steam trade reversal bullshit, I'm gonna sell a lot of the stuff on Steam, at least enough to get my money back, right? I'm still gonna need Armory passes. I still have shit I have to buy on Steam. So there's no real reason for me not to sell on Steam, right? I'm gonna need that Steam fund anyway in the future at some point, and I don't have to worry about people reversing, which carries a specifically exceptional risk on days like this because there's such high volatility. Prices spike, prices jump back down. People don't know what's going on. People reverse. People are stupid. You have to realize that. Don't let them reverse if you don't have to. Use Steam. Then once you make your money back, meaning the money you put in, then feel free to list on Float because then you don't care about reversals. You'll take that back and you'll just hold it because it's discontinued now. It has good fundamentals. But you can also list on Float in a relatively smart way, right? If you have 10 items, don't list them all for the same price, right? Don't create a supply wall. That tends to drive buyers away. Ladder. And by ladder, I mean sell 2 at $5.50, sell 2 at $6, sell 2 at $6.50, ... You get it. So let's say price spikes all the way up, but it goes from $3 to $6.49 and you had all your listings at $6.50. Well, then you got no benefit from that spike, right? But if you sold 2 at $5, 2 at $5.50, 2 at $6, well, then you sold 6 of them and then you have 4 left over. Laddering is a very great way in order to lock in profits without taking too much risk. And if it goes up, you're hedging against that as well. So that is how I'm positioned. Over 400 items across all of the Armory collections that I consider, it being profitable. Now, I'll show you the numbers if you'd like to see them in depth. That's just going to be a whiteboard talking shit type of thing. So I'll leave that on the members video section of the channel. So you can see the totals, profit and losses, purchasing prices, exact bases, etc. So a lot of the people that are in there already know some of or most of my positions, right? I told them about the Nova Yorkshires when they were like 270, and if they purchase any of them, they'd be up 100% just like me. And if you want to see how this portfolio will do when this news comes out, we'll just have to wait and see. Stay tuned until then. But until then, peace.